Welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be breaking down all things player progression so you all can get a little bit of an advantage in your dynasties, whether they're offline or online and you're competing against people. And we're going to give you all the tools and tips on how to get the most out of your players so you all can have the best players on the field each and every season. So if you all like today's video, leave a like down below and hit that subscribe button, as we're dropping so much college football 27 content you don't want to miss out. But let's go ahead and get straight into it. So the first thing we will discuss is actually what XP divvies out for each type of stat and or just how a player progresses. So the first thing we're going to be going over is the stats. On screen you can see the breakdown. So passing yards is 1 XP per passing yard. So if you get 500 passing yards in a game, that's going to be 500 XP. That is pretty basic and pretty easy to assess. And then at the bottom here you can see that a win is going to get you 2,000, where a loss is going to get you 1,000. And so those are pretty basic. The second thing we're discussing is weekly practice, which is a new feature to college football 27. But if you play Dynasty, I'm sure you already know about this, but there's 4 different instances. 2 don't get you any points. It's going to be no practice and week off. Limited practice will get you half the amount, so 200 to 400 respectively, and full practice is going to get you the full amount or possible amount of XP, which is going to be 400 XP all the way up to 800. You can also get a boost to this, which is going to be a total of 15+% if your head coach and coordinator has the practice makes perfect coaching ability, which will get you about 100-ish more XP per weekly training. And the third guarantee way, or the way we absolutely know for sure of XP, is going to be your off-season progression. You can see on screen the complete breakdown from years to how much each position gets, or the range they can get for each off-season progression. Obviously, as freshmen, you're going to be earning more. EA has said this all the way up to senior, where you're going to be earning a little bit less. It's a random roll, so you in theory could cheese the system by putting a save file, and then if you don't like how much your certain players got that year, just go back to that old save file and just keep re-rolling, because it's completely random. It's not determined before training. It's just whatever the dice rolls that week, you're going to get that for that season. And one thing to note on that is that you do get a little bit lower reduced XP total if you do redshirt your player. It's going to be about 5 to 8%. And I should note that Preston Shoete, or however you pronounce his last name, is the guy that has divvied all this stuff from the files. He dove into the college football 27 code and actually pulled all this stuff out. So all this info is his. Go check out his link down below. It's linked in the description. He has a ton of good content. We'll be probably going over a ton of it over the next few months, and it's just really good info for you all, and we're going to be breaking down some of it, bits and pieces here, not everything, because it is a ton of data. But those are the 3 main ways we know of right now. Another one is by awards. We just don't know the actual totals that will get you by winning awards. Obviously, winning the Heisman is going to give you the most. Winning All-Americans will give you some, and then Player of the Weeks will give you some as well. Obviously, you want your players to win those, but just right now, we don't know those totals. And those are the 3 or 4 ways you can gain XP within college football 27. There are 4 different coach abilities that will get you a little bit of a boost each and every week or during the off season, and those are on screen. Put in work is going to be your off-season exclusive boost. It's going to be a base 10%. Everybody eats is going to get everybody all XP, whether it's going to be weekly practices or off-season trainings. So that's going to get you 10% as well. And then there's 2 situational ones, which are going to be for starters and then underclassmen. Those are both really good, giving you 17% respectively. So in theory, if you have all 4 of these abilities as a head coach, and in theory, there's 3 different scenarios if you have all 4 of these abilities. During the offseason, you're going to be getting a 37% boost for all of your players. During the regular season, you'll be getting a base 27, and for practices, you'll be getting 42% boost if you have 4 of these, plus the practice makes perfect ability, which that's just a massive gain. Basically a 50% boost on practices, which is going to get you like 5 to 10 more levels depending on how a player rolls. So now that we have all the XP out of the way and the different multipliers that are going to affect base XP, we also have another multiplier, and that's going to be dev traits. Obviously, everybody knows that dev traits make players progress faster, and it also increases your skill cap, so there's not going to be less of them on your players to begin with. The actual breakdown of these is broken down by Preston. Normal is going to give you just a 1-to-1. Impact's going to give you a 20% boost. Star's going to get you 35, and then Elite's going to give you that nice, juicy 50% boost, which is just insanely good, and you really want those players on your team. And Preston was even nice enough to give us some examples. I know this is a little bit long-winded, but trust me, the tips are coming here in a second, but just we got to get through the base stuff first. So give me a little bit longer. You have a freshman quarterback with the normal dev trait. It gets you the base, 4,400 or 44,000 XP in the offseason, and then you can see the rest. That elite max roll is going to net you nearly 79,000, so nearly double what you would get as just a base roll average normal player. And then on top of that, if you have the off-season boost, it's going to be another 8,000-ish points. If you have the everybody eats, that's going to be another 8,000. So it's going to be all the way up to what, like 94,000 points. Just massive, massive gains if you can get your coach abilities and all the stuff working for you. So now that we have how all the XP is actually gained for a player, what does this actually mean? For each different player threshold, so like, a 50 to 55 overall, they're going to be gaining a certain amount of XP that's going to get them a certain amount of skill points. Skill points are what you actually use to upgrade your player, and that is really what we want and need a player to develop as quick. Preston was able to kind of break down the brackets or kind of the ranges players will develop or how fastly they'll accrue skill points, and they're on screen right now. You have basically a 50 to a 60 overall. You're going to be getting 1,500 XP per level. So every time you get 1,500 XP, you're going to be getting a skill point you can use. And as a player progresses all the way up to 99, it's going to cost you more and more, about 250 per pop or per range. So once you get to that 95 plus threshold, it's going to be costing you 2,500. So 40% more XP just to get one more skill point. So all that is how you accrue different skill points, but that is not the only thing that dictates player progressions. Obviously, you can upgrade your dev traits within College Football 27. So a player that comes in with a normal dev trait can, in theory, develop into an elite dev trait player by his senior or junior year, which will be a massive benefit to his XP accumulation and also his skill point accruance, which is going to make him even a better player going into his final year. And the way that you want to manage it is by playing players as much as possible. So that's tip number 2. A lot of times, I know personally myself and a lot of other players will probably sub out players when they're running up the score on FCS teams or group of 6 teams to get in their backups to get them a little bit more XP. But my tip to you all is do not do that. Play your starters pretty much the whole season, and here is why. And on screen, you can see the off-season development upgrade logic with College Football 27. This is a new thing Preston posted on his page just a couple days ago, less than a week ago, and this is how it is broken down. For normal dev traits, you have to get a 25 season score. We'll explain what that means in a minute to get a percentage chance to upgrade your dev trait, which he breaks down what a season score is. It is basically just the amount of stats you get times 100 divided by the max score of the position. So, for example, he breaks down quarterbacks. Your max score is going to be 250. And you get different multipliers based on the stats you get. So he does an example here. For a quarterback who threw 25 touchdowns, 3,000 yards, he had 400 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns, and 8 interceptions, he'll get a season score of 50. So if that player has a season score of 50, we can go back to his other list and look. So if the player is a normal dev trait, he needs a score of 25, which will get you a 25% chance to upgrade your dev trait. Basically, the minimum or the gate is just going to tell you what you need to get to, and then everything on top of that's going to be a percentage chance. It's no guarantee, it's just a percentage chance. So if the player was an impact, he scored a season score of 50, so he's not going to get an upgrade. Same thing with star and elite dev. Elite, obviously you don't upgrade, there's not going to be a number associated with it. But for star devs, you're going to need a 75 season score just to get you a chance to upgrade your dev trait, which is going to be a massive, massive hurdle to get over. So let's just say your player like won the Heisman. He threw for 40 touchdowns, rushed for another 10, threw for 4,000 yards, and then rushed for 750 yards, and didn't throw any interceptions, which is probably not going to be the case. I throw a ton of interceptions when I'm controlling the quarterback. But what if he did that? He would get a score of 102, which would be good enough for all of these abilities. So he would be getting the star. If he was a star dev, he would be getting all of them. If he got a score of 102, he would have a 77% chance to upgrade from a normal to an impact. He would have a 52% chance to go from an impact to a star, and he would have a 27% chance from going from a star to an elite dev. So basically, the more you play a player, the more stats they get, the more likely it is they're going to upgrade their dev trait. So it's no longer a mystery. So the more you play a player, it is just cut and dry. So I, in theory, along with not upgrading freshmen and sophomores, my other tip for this is to not play anybody else other than your starters. Keep running that score up. Keep scoring, keep rushing, keep throwing. Do whatever you need to do to get more points, more stats, and everything just to make your players a little bit better. Have a little bit better chance to upgrade your dev trait. So one disclaimer before we get out of here, I did say that you can get a 77% chance of increasing your dev trait, but the highest you can get is going to be 75 because of the max score. I looked back at my calculation and it actually gave you a season score of 255 for the quarterback, which your max score for quarterbacks is going to be 250. So it is hard lock. There's not going to be a way to get a 100% chance to upgrade your player, which kind of sucks. I would love to have, like, basically guaranteed if you have that good of a season, which in theory should make sense, but your max score is going to be 250, which limits you to 100 season score, which basically makes it the max you can get. So it's not a guarantee, but knowing this can incentivize you and make sure that your players have the best chance to upgrade their dev trait. But with that, that's all we have for you all. I know this is a lot of talking today. Hopefully I didn't steer you off from that, but this is a lot of great info. It makes everything that we know about college football a little bit easier to just kind of digest having this info from Preston. He was able to dive in the code and get a lot of good stuff from it. So I'm really appreciative of him for that. So go ahead and check out his page if y'all haven't yet to support him over there. But this is definitely a good stepping stone just to kind of get a little bit more info or a little bit more advantage in your dynasties. I know a lot of y'all compete in online dynasties and every little advantage is going to be key to you all. And even in offline dynasties is huge. Just be able to, rebuild a little bit quicker and have a little bit more knowledge about the game. But I hope y'all enjoyed. Let me know in the comments if y'all have any comments or concerns, and I'll get back to you all as quickly as possible. But I appreciate y'all tuning in. And as always, I'll catch you all in the next one.